All right, so as I paint the edge of the water here, I have to decide how to contain it into a shape that I think will look good for the spot illustration. I've got my top shapes worked out. There's still some areas I'm going to define that as kind of redder flames back there. But for the water, I have to decide what kind of shape do I want just with the coloring. I'm going to try to keep it fairly horizontal so it feels colored. I'm going to try to color the bubbles as well, that same watery blue, even though it's going to be inky water. Try to connect it all. So I don't want too much of the color showing at all, really. Mostly black, but little bits of it should bleed out and around. So I'm going to use those as little scraps, even though I coloring the water in this part. No, not even that part. Trying to determine what pieces are actually water reflections and what are the scraps of fabric from his cloak kind of floating above. All right, I got to make sure it's all contained. Keep it kind of horizontally minded, but continue on with some of the shapes that have already been drawn. Okay, let's see. That should fill it in, I think. Oh, big opening there. Big opening there. So there's a lot that hasn't been contained yet, so I think I'll just paint it in. Zoom in. This looks like a very similar blue to what I used here. Those two are very, very close. So I might choose a different color for this. Oh, but it does select differently. Oh, so I guess it's okay. Good. The two different blues, but anyway. When in doubt, steal the color from yourself. So if I want to do this color, I steal it from that blade. Paint. Fill it all in. And for here, I steal it from here. Remember, I can lighten them and darken them later. If I decide I want the rock color somewhere, I can steal that color and paint it right in. Make this a little rock shard coming up. Keep that as a bubble. And things I'm not sure about, like this little, maybe the kind of splashing of the water against the rock up into the hand. Maybe that's, I keep white for now, or I keep empty for now. I think I might want to fill that with another flat color, even though it's not a contained outline, just for effect. This is a little detail to the drawing I liked, that his fingers are scooping through the water and look like little pebbles as they're reaching through. So I need to draw that water line distinct with his hand. So it looks like his hand's disappearing into the water. Like that. That's where coloring can help add to your line work. It's never going to save it, but it can add a lot to it. It's used with strong intention. If I decide I don't like that outside shape, I just use my eraser to reshape the coloring here. I'm not thrilled with this, so let's use the eraser. Try to get something a little bit more interesting. Maybe leave a little bit of white here. A little ambiguity between the flames. Maybe my initials. Yeah, it's already looking a little better. So you can't be timid. Something's going to be filled. You should define the line, define that edge. Anything else might end up just looking like a mistake. Things that aren't meant to have color, get rid of them. This bottom edge, I don't think it needs it. So I'm using the eraser. All right. All of that works pretty well. I don't know where my navigation shortcuts don't seem to be working for me on my keyboard, so. There we go. All right. Oh, it's because I had a key accidentally being held down by my tablet. That can sometimes happen, and when that happens, certain functions don't work on the keyboard. And these shortcut functions are very helpful, like holding down Option to use the paint dropper. Let's see what we've got. All right. Quite a bit of interesting flatting color going on. Save that for sure. And let's see. I kind of like the idea of my initials coming out of the water halfway. Just like he is, but now that looks better. All right, save your work. Now for the other gauntlet, I already have a color for that. I can steal it directly. And just start painting it in. Using Command plus to zoom in, holding down space bar, clicking and dragging to move around. Just throwing that together. And we're still just doing all our coloring behind our black line work. This is the coloring for anything that's like a metal gauntlet. And I'm using green as my flatting color instead of gray, not because I want him to have green armor, because I want it to be easily selectable separate from the rocks and the sword, which are already gray. Can I get away with a little water there? Yes, that helps. That brings it together. All right, I'm going to continue that green. And on this edge, I think that's still the armor coming through. Okay. Then where else do I have armor coming through? I was thinking it would be this piece here. This might be a good chance to go back to that magic wand since we have a lot of contained shapes. Up. But I want contiguous checked. Anti-alias and contiguous. Come on. There we go. Hold down Command, or hold down Shift rather. Add to it. I think that's also armor coming through. That's also armor coming through, kind of this tattered rag that he's wearing. He's had a tough journey. This is all armor. This is armor. This whole shoulder could be armor. If you accidentally select the black, just hit Command Z. You get more accurate selections. I'm doing a lot. Okay. All right, the rest is his cloak, I think. In fact, this might actually be his cloak. So I can deselect from that section too. So let me show you what that would look like. Do the green, go to my flat color layer, and it will color it all in the first pass. Right, so that's his armor coming through. This chest plate, I think, is also his armor. Oh, I can see what I was thinking. Let's see. Yeah, so maybe this with this. You don't have to worry so much about this stuff just when you're inking it. But then all of this becomes pretty important when you're putting it all together and trying to color it and make sense of it. Whenever I use the paint bucket, I think of kind of MS Paint and really early paint programs. All right. And then I think this too. Just a little shard of his armor coming through. Bit there, bit here. Maybe all this good stuff. And because I've colored his body armor that way, stands to reason that I would treat that in a similar fashion to the way I treat the helmet. Separate from his beard. And that's still part of the cloak kind of draping over. I can always walk back in my history too. I'm thinking this should all be part of the cloak, all draping over, and that's a big shadow. But this should be armor. Now the helmet. Now local color, this is all armor, right? But that kind of Exxon cross on his helmet is going to be of a different material than the rest of the helmet, so I want to pick a different color for that.